Welcome, welcome to our next episode here at Dream to Rise podcast. And I have a special guest who who is a painless piano coach. After nearly losing her ability to play piano due to extreme pain in her hands and arms, she found a mentor who helped her release tension and instead work with her body. And this sparked her mission to empower fellow pianists with the same advanced techniques, showing them how to avoid and alleviate repetitive motion injuries. She's a professional pianist and enjoys sharing her music in concerts and other venues. Her favorite role so far is the time she spent as an orchestra pianist. Resilience is the backbone of her story. Financially independent at the age of 14. Wow. Surviving and now thriving after 17-year ordeal in a domestic violence marriage. And a past cast member of entrepreneurship reality show docu-series, The Blocks. Wow. Beyond the keys, she's a single mom riding the daily adventure of parenting three incredible teens. And her happy place, sunshine, sun, and ocean, all together whenever possible. And without further ado, I would like to introduce to you our special guest, Lorraine Robinson. Welcome, Lorraine. It's really an honor to have you here, Lorraine.
Thank you so much. It is such a privilege to get to be a guest on your podcast, and I'm excited to chat with you today.
Same here, same here. And when I introduced you, we had the same experience journey. Well, before the recording, we had the opportunity to share as well. So I'm really excited about you sharing your story because a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, would resonate to what you will be sharing. So okay, let's go ahead. What can I would appreciate if you could tell us or share your story. That's actually the main purpose of this. If you could share us something about yourself that brought you to where you are right now.
Well, what of the many adventures? Probably the biggest turning point for me to be here really was finding freedom from the domestic violence marriage that I was in. At one point, I actually almost died during that relationship because all of the physical stress just came to such a complete I don't even know what to call it. It just culminated so severely and completely that I literally almost died. And I give many, like, I don't even know how to put it into words. Almost, I am just so grateful to God for keeping me alive. And my doctor did not expect me to survive. And also, just my own personal sheer stubbornness that I was not going to leave my kids without a mother. And so, both by God's grace and by my own, the idea of being free from that relationship eventually, it eventually started to come together finally, where situations happened where my ex was obligated to move out. And then so many things came together. It was a very scary time, but it was also I had a lot of personal inner peace during that time, even though it was scary and terrifying.
How long have you been in a relationship with your ex-husband?
I was with him for 17 years.
17 years, and you have 3 children?
Yes.
Okay.
So they are teens and young adults now.
So they have experienced as well and witnessed the domestic violence inside the house.
Yes, even though they don't realize it as such at this point. And they are not, it's a really fine line to walk when your kids don't understand the dynamics of what was going on. And one parent has convinced them that things weren't that bad, and they feel an obligation to be devoted to that parent still, even though they may have felt some of the toxic behavior. They're still not sure how to deal with that and what to label it and why it didn't feel good.
Who is this parent that you're talking about?
So I have to be careful here.
No, I mean,
but
it's not the husband, it's not the ex-husband. It's a separate individual outside the house.
no, so their dad has moved out, and so it's just difficult for them to filter through everything that happened from him, and to understand what was toxic in that behavior, and how to still have that it's okay to be able to have a relationship with both parents still. And they don't have to be ultra loyal to one or the other. I don't ask that of them, certainly, but it just kind of happens because then sometimes the other parent, well, there's a lot of what's the word? Wordless expectations sometimes in toxic relationships, and the kids feel that, even though they can't define what it is or why it makes them feel the way. So it's a whole learning adventure every day, literally, figuring out how to support them through their feelings and the new things that come up. But it was a huge gift to be free of that relationship, because I honestly, I didn't know what else to do at that point when I was getting so sick, and I didn't have the support to take care of myself or my kids in that relationship. So every day is a new day and getting better. I've been out for 3.5 years, and my business is taking off and my personal life is coming together, and I'm just very, very grateful to be here.
Yes. When you mentioned how long have you experienced this domestic abuse during your marriage? Was
It,
17
it
years?
was it was the whole 17 years. I didn't realize it, but
Mhm.
it was.
Yeah. And what made you stay for 17 years? Because I will also share with you why I stayed for 23 years. What what
Yeah.
what do you think was your main reason why you stuck with this marriage despite what you have been experiencing?
Well, for one thing, I was raised in a very, very conservative religious
Mhm.
environment where you don't get divorced. You never get divorced. It doesn't matter what they do. Um, there is no acceptable reason for divorce except maybe severe physical violence, which was really the only aspect of abuse that wasn't really part of our relationship. Um, but the toxic behavior certainly covered just about every other area. Um,
So you had emotional verbal abuse, not physical abuse.
right.
Okay. And that's also very, very toxic. It's hard
Yes.
also. It's as
Well,
bad as physical abuse.
financial, sexual,
Oh my.
and it did border on physical. Um, it was going that direction if I hadn't gotten out. When I did, who knows what would have happened.
Yes. Because when I shared with you my story, yes, 23 years. And what was the main reason why I got stuck with that? Philippines has no divorce. And once you get married, for me, it's already a vow for a commitment to God that yes, we will raise a very in a religious setting, and I made a commitment that I will be with Him through thick and thin till death do us part. That's always our vow, right? But
Mm-hmm.
and also the expectation from the society, the community that what will other people say if you separate? Well, will happen to the kids? Will you be able to raise them by yourself and so on? And uh, just like you, I got stuck there and be- trying to avoid the signs of domestic abuse. And I think that's the sign of being a victim of domestic abuse, wherein you are at fault, right? That you are the one provoking something like that. But then I was enlightened by my siblings, but before I was not listening to them. This is my problem, and I will handle it. But I know it really has an impact to the children, and especially separating your children were still young. They needed a father figure, so it was hard for you to make that decision. So what was that situation wherein you made that shift that enough is enough?
Well, it was really not my decision. And actually, if I don't know if I could have made the decision. I hope that I would have eventually gotten to that point, but it was not my decision to make. Circumstances happened where um, the the relevant authorities were notified that they needed to investigate, and so they they spoke to my ex and let him know that they were very concerned about the situation and they thought that he needed to move out and give us space.
Oh, that was good. Someone
Yeah.
out from the outside probably is witnessing what's happening inside. And
Well, I can't speak to the exact situation, but it did it did
it
come
helped.
about.
Yeah, it
Yes.
helped you. Yes. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's always I always tell myself there's always a reason behind everything, right? Sometimes we meet
Absolutely.
people, but not knowing that that person or those group of people will be helping you later on, no?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
uh-huh. So now you've been separated for 3 years, and how are the kids now doing?
Well, like I said, it's a daily adventure.
So they still have,
Figuring out,
they still are in the process of
yes.
healing.
Oh, very much. Just trying to make sure that they are mentally and emotionally and physically okay is a daily um concern and prayer, and um that's something that I probably need to visualize more is happy and healthy kids.
Yes, yes. Actually, I just want to share with you my eldest daughter when she got engaged first time. She just she's very careful now in terms of meeting the right person, the right guy. Um, she canceled the wedding because she felt during that time that it will not be healthy, and she could see some signs as well of what happened. And I think my children has ha, has been going through so much as well. And I'm glad that they are shifting their energy to help them uh really move on and move forward. Oh my, so now you have evolved now, being free. Can you tell us that you are totally free?
um well, it's still a co-parenting situation, so there's always that um learning how to handle my own emotions and how to self-soothe whenever something comes up, and reminding myself I don't have to fall back into old patterns and old ways of interacting, either with my kids or with their dad. But I would say I feel like I'm 90% free. I am always working on being aware of thought patterns that don't serve me. And, I grew up with a lot of toxic, toxic behaviors towards me from my own family. And I grew up with a lot of toxic messages. Um, and so just being aware of when those come up and try to derail me and say, nope, that's not who I am. That's not how I do things.
So
I can do
yes,
even better.
exactly. So what strategies are you doing, or some uh, ways and means to keep you or help you be reminded that, hey, this is no longer affecting me? So what do you usually do to overcome all those blockages?
Well, primarily, um, the thing that helps me the most is I have, I'm not sure what to call it, maybe a mantra that I repeat to myself many, many, many times throughout the day whenever I start to feel that niggle of insecurity, or I'm not good enough, or this is, everyone's going to think this is stupid or something. Um, so I actually looked up the definition of my name just because I love names and I love definitions of names. And so my name is the feminine version of renowned warrior. And I was like, Oh my gosh, I love that
Again,
so
warrior,
much.
warrior,
Renowned
a
warrior.
renowned warrior. Wow.
Yes. And I thought, I love that so much. I am owning that.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so then I can't remember. I think I was talking with my therapist, or somehow this other idea came to me, of the words luminary queen. And so whenever whenever I'm not sure how to act in a situation or how to interact with someone, or, I'm just feeling really insecure about what to do, I remind myself, I am the renowned warrior and I am the luminary queen. And it just reminds me, how would a warrior and how would a queen handle this situation? Not to say, not in the sense that the queen is stuck up and snobby and can do whatever she wants and everyone has to bow to her demands. But in my mind, a queen is someone who cares for everyone in her space and wants the best for them, and is kind of, I think the term servant leader applies, where you're leading by example how you want to move through a situation. And even if everyone else is, maybe freaking out and losing their minds a little bit, just to find that centering and calmness, and to take one step at a time and move through.
Very good. Very good. At least there are some ways and means that you're doing something to help you. And you continue to do it. And I agree with you in terms of affirmation, self-affirmation. When you always think about what is good for you, what the positive, then that will become a reality. Again,
Absolutely.
energy, where the energy goes, where your attention goes, I mean, energy flows. So keep thinking and seeing the positive in every situation. And then when you see the positive, you feel grateful. And when you're grateful, you feel abundant, you feel free, you feel fuller. Yes. Uh-huh. Oh, that's nice. So oh, you mentioned about you playing the piano, and you mentioned about having this um, pain on in your hand. Was this a result of any uh, the relationship between you and your husband, or it's not just, no, it's a health issue or a physical issue with you? Or was it a
It,
result of something because of what happened? I don't know.
it was mainly a health issue
Uh-huh.
because, um, I didn't know how to use my body correctly when I was playing the piano. So many piano players will hold themselves tensely as they play because they are trying so hard. They're working so hard to play the right way. And so you unconsciously will hold tension in different areas of my body or of their body. And so for me, that came out with carpal tunnel and tendonitis, um, which at the most extreme point, I could only practice piano for about 10 minutes a day before
Mhm.
my hands would literally lock up into claws and
Oh,
I would have no control over my fingers whatsoever. Um, and it was just the most extreme shooting pain at my arms. Um, And so I actually, I was every recital that I had at that point, I was mentally crossing my fingers and hoping that this would not be the time that my hands locked up in front of the whole audience.
Of course.
And so that was when I was in high school, about 16 and 17 years old. And I didn't know what to do about it at the time. And it literally never occurred to me to mention to my piano teacher what issues I was having, because somewhere along the line I'd gotten the idea that that was just normal, that every pianist will eventually have to deal with something like that. And that was just normal. And it never occurred to me to ask my teacher if she had any solutions for me.
Experience, or if she experienced that, no?
Right. And
Especially when you
so,
play the piano, you practice for hours, because
yes,
I studied piano as well, and I was asked to practice like hours. The
yes,
exercises not will take me an hour. The piano pieces will take me an hour. So
yes,
it will really take hours. Oh my.
yes. Yeah. At that point in my piano studies in high school, I was probably practicing for 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And I had no idea that shifting my posture or anything like that could have helped. And so when I married my then husband, we moved to a new city and I was looking for a new piano teacher for myself. And I found an amazing mentor who actually did not even have room in her studio. But when she found out that I had students of my own and that, um, let's see, I didn't tell her about the issues I was having with pain at that point because I didn't know that there was anything you could do about it. But she was one of the best teachers in the city, and she made room for me very graciously in her studio. And then as I started working with her, these light bulbs started coming on, and I was just amazed. And like I've been struggling with this for so long, and here's a solution. And she's like, "Yes, this is what I do. Is I teach students how to not have these issues." And so that started my interest in learning more about how um, working with your body and viewing your body as part of the dynamic in playing is so important to avoid injuries. You're not just sitting at the piano and playing the piano, you're using your entire body to play the piano, whether you realize it or not.
That's right. That's great. And so are you now coaching people doing the same thing, helping them out on this?
Yes, yes, that is my main focus, to bring clients into my studio who are either aware of pain somewhere in their body, and we work on addressing that as we shift their posture into more body friendly alignment. And we talk about how your joints and your muscles are all supposed to move, and how they should move and how they should not move, and actually how mindset plays a huge part in that,
Mhm.
because your body moves or does not move the way that you think it does. So if you have a mindset that this is how my body is supposed to move, that's what will happen. And maybe it's not the best way for your body to move, and that will cause some injury. So then we need to change the mindset over where is your body actually designed to move from, and start working from there. And that is the basis to avoid or heal those injuries.
May I ask, because I still remember that time when I was playing the piano. Now I stopped.
Uh-huh.
And then they would always tell me after playing the piano, I kept on moving and swaying, something like that. So I don't know, is that okay? Because when you feel the music, you you tend to really sway along with the music, right? So I don't know when you were saying about posture, where is eh, I know I don't me when I play the piano, it's so hard for me to just be stiff, no? Because that's how you express your emotion, your feelings through music when you sway, just like
Mhm.
dancing, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know, is that one way of how when you mentioned about the posture and so on, what would you suggest? Are you okay to freely move and something like that? Sometimes they would always tell me, please sit still.
Well, my personal opinion and what I suggest to my clients is that it is totally okay to feel the music and to move, but you don't want it to become distracting or take away from the energy that you're able to put into the piano. So, to be able to use your body to its fullest, you want to be able to direct your energy properly through that proper alignment and posture into the piano. So, if you're doing a lot of movement, that is energy that's going to your body moving rather than energy that's going into the sound and the tone of the piano.
So it will
So,
impact the result or the how you play the piano and the
yes,
music that you release.
yes. So you want to be aware of it. And some is good and okay, but just to make sure that it's not
Too much.
too much. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, a great tip. So for all the pianists there, so we have some free tips here from Lorraine.
Absolutely.
So Lorraine, what is the biggest lessons you've learned from your past experience, from your journey, from this journey?
The biggest lesson I think so far is um, that prayer and manifestation go hand in hand. So um, I have manifested the biggest things not solely on my own power, I think, um, because I do think that visualizing and the way that I personally did it was by praying and and visualizing the outcome that I wanted. But I prayed, especially during that breakup time with my ex. I prayed like my life depended on it because I was simultaneously afraid of my world imploding and, my kids and I being left homeless and penniless. But I also had this deep peace that I couldn't explain
Mhm.
as I really didn't think of any other possible outcome but that we would have a home at the end of it. I would have enough financial means to provide for myself and my kids consistently. Um, and that their standard of living would not have to change. And as a result, I am the only person I know of in my domestic violence support groups in those circles whose ex, while he while he was not terribly nice about it, he signed the separation agreement that gave me everything I asked for,
That's great.
which is, you know, unheard of. Most most of the stories I hear are how the ex fights and the women and mothers come away with next to nothing. And I can only credit it to praying constantly, visualizing constantly that that would be the outcome.
See, that was manifestation. Oh my.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. And, and I agree with you because in my case, it was only through prayers. My only relationship was with God during that time because I stopped engaging with other people. And my vision, my dream is to help my children grow up to be the best version of themselves as well. I didn't have the money because I had to send my son to school, which is really very expensive. But then what happened was each one of them told me, well, it for me, I think it's good to tell them your problems, no, be open. And they even volunteered, Mommy, you don't have to give us allowance. We will work and we will just get that allowance from our paycheck. They didn't even get the whole of their paycheck. They would give it to me, and then I will give them 20% of their paycheck, and that's their allowance. So they were able to budget and manage their expenses. And that's one learning experience I've had also in my life. Same with your children, I'm sure. Wow, great thing that domestic violence is a big thing really now. And I'm truly advocating really the stop of this domestic violence because the impact is so huge, not only to the wives, but also to the children. And
Mm-hmm.
I just feel bad for those children who are still there, still struggling to gain that healing. It takes years, really. It's a long process. But you being a role model for your children that, hey, I don't entertain domestic abuse. And we can work things out and rise up and evolve. And now them seeing you helping others, uh, living your purpose, it's a great thing. And that's what we need here. Wow. So what is your goal? What are your goals for this for the next 12 months since we started 2024 now?
Yes. Well, my goals for this next year are to fill my piano coaching programs. I am launching an online group program here in the next few weeks, and right now I do individual coaching in person for those who are local and via Zoom. Um, and I also have a Facebook group called Painless Piano Players Zone, where if anyone is interested in finding out more about playing painless piano, they are welcome and invited to join. And I have some little lesson videos in there, and I have one video talking in particular about how to literally set yourself up for success. And we go through some of the first steps of shifting posture into a more painless alignment.
Great. That's wonderful. And what do you think would be your major roadblock in achieving these goals?
My major roadblock is um, forgetting to visualize in the same way that I, with that same feeling of it has to happen, there is no other option, that same way that I visualized both the outcome of splitting up with my ex, and also we didn't have a chance to talk about this, but I also manifested getting onto that reality show that way. And so
Oh,
two huge things in my life. And then it seems like for things that I think of as smaller or less important, I forget. And so that is my challenge that I am working to be more aware of this year, is to, with everything, have that same strong feeling and certainness of the outcome.
so it's more on working on ourselves again. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, okay, before we end, what simple advice would you like to share to our listeners?
Well, for domestic violence specifically, if you feel like you're wondering, is that okay? Is that a normal way for a relationship to be? It's it's probably not, because you're asking the question. It's not. That is probably the one thing that I learned for myself. If you're Googling why does he act certain ways, that means it's not a healthy behavior. And um, I would encourage anyone to find support, um, and not to feel uncertain or like it's not a big enough deal, because if it's affecting you, it is a big deal.
Yes. And when you mention about you asking yourself, that is listening to your inner self, your intuition. If you feel that
Absolutely.
it's not aligned to your values, to what is through your connection to the higher power, and that is God, then it's not meant for you. And that's already the answer. So when we ask ourselves, I always ask questions about, is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right behavior or what? Will this do good for me? Ask God, and He will give you the answer. And that's listening to your inner self. Thank you so much, Lorraine. It was a wonderful chat. I had a wonderful chat with you, resonating with what you have experienced and sharing your lessons learned to our listeners, because, hey, life is not the end. It's actually the start of a new beginning, a new chapter. And let our past be our learning, our lessons learned, so that we will be able to move forward, achieving what we want to achieve in life. And that is our dream, living the life we love. Congratulations,
Absolutely.
Lorraine, for what you have become. And I wish you all the best. So how can I know you mentioned how they could get in touch with you, and that is Painless uh, piano group on Facebook.
Painless Piano Players Zone. I know it's a little bit long.
Player
um,
Zone. And do you
but
have a website?
right now, I just have my links website, which I can message you, and to that goes to an application form if people are interested in working
Yes.
one-on-one with me. It also has a link to the Facebook group. It has a link to my behind the scenes group for the reality show. And I will be promoting that with an Amazon watch party soon, because it was just taken up on Prime TV a few weeks ago, which was
Oh, that's
very
nice.
exciting.
Excited. So again,
Yes,
what is your website thing?
So the link's website is bit.ly.
Sorry,
Excuse
sorry.
me. It is bit.ly,
Bit dot
bit.ly/m as in Mary /painless piano.
famous piano. Okay. May I repeat? So the
Sure.
listeners would say bit.ly/m/famouspiano.com.
No.com.
No,
So
that
it's a bit.ly link. So the bit.ly is bit.ly as in
ly
yellow. Yes.
ly.
Everything else is correct. I know it's a bit.
Okay. Congratulations again, and I wish you all the best, Lorraine. And thank you so much for being here with me and being my guest. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. Have a blessed day. And thank you to all our listeners. Till our next episode. See you again. Bye.